Hello friends, this is Svetlana. Welcome to another video from Altenew. Today I will be making a card featuring several ways of adding color to a white cardstock. This video is a part of the stamp focus blog post on Altenew blog for the exotic tulips stamp set. This set has layering stamps to create 3 tulip flowers of different shapes and sizes, as well as a stem and a couple of leaves. There are also 2 sentiment stamps in this set. I'm starting with making a background panel for my card. So here I have a solar white cardstock panel, which I'm coloring by swapping a Galactic stream ink pad along its surface. I'm swiping it in all directions until the whole panel is colored in this ink. This way may seem wasteful, but believe me, these ink pads have a good capacity of ink and go a long way. This way of coloring cardstock gives a more intense result versus blending ink using an ink blending tool. Also, it's much more faster to add color this way. Next, I will be adding a pattern to this background using the Spring Garden Stencil. I am blending the same Galactic stream dye ink onto the panel through the stencil using an ink blending tool. Dye inks are translucent. The more ink you add, the more intense will be the result. Here, the added layer of the same ink still will be visible, as it will be darker. Sometimes I'm picking up the stencil, checking if my pattern is intense enough for what I am going for. Next, I will be creating floral elements for my card. First, I will be stamping a couple of tulip heads onto a solar white cardstock. I'm using my Mini Misty stamping tool for stamping. My inks of choice are Orange Cream, Autumn Blaze, and Firebrick. I'm stamping corresponding layers of both elements at the same time, mounting them both to the Misty lid. It just saves a little bit of time. Eventually, I will be decutting these flowers out of the panel, but I don't want the decuts to have this white edge that is created as dies are a bit bigger than the stamped images. I want them to rather blend with the teal background I created. To make this happen, I will be blending the Galactic stream dye ink onto the area around the flowers. And to mask off the flowers, I'm using the corresponding mask stencils. I'm taping a stencil down using a sticky tape in one spot and blend the ink around the opposite part of the image. Then I'm moving the tape to that area and do blending where the tape was before. And I do the same for another flower. Now I will go ahead and decut these flowers using the matching dies. And since I'm an OCD, I cannot stand this white edge of the die cut, so I'm filling it by blending the ink that I have left on my blending tool form. The same goes for another flower die cut, of course. The process of making the leaves and stems is simpler. First, I'm blending the teal cave dye ink onto a white panel. Later, I will be decutting the mentioned elements out of this panel, so you see me here checking how much I need to cover with ink. Next, I'm going ahead and decutting a couple of stems and leaves out of this panel. I'm placing the cut into its negative space to hold it in place while I am stamping. Since these die cuts already had color to it, first I decided to only stamp the top layer onto them. But then I didn't really like the result and decided to stamp the bottom layer as well. For stamping, I'm using the Teal Cave and Galactic Stream dye inks. Back to the panel. I decided to add some splatters of the Jack Black ink spray onto it. Because, splatters is always a good idea. As a splattering tool, I'm using this splatter brush, But of course any method of adding splatters will work here. I let the splatters dry, trimmed the panel, and next I will before mounting the panel onto a white card base. After which I'm adhering my tulips onto the card using a liquid adhesive. For the sentiment, I cut a word thanks out of white using a die from the script words to die set. To hold it in place, I'm placing it onto a piece of a painter's tape. And I'm adding color to it by coloring with autumn blaze and Firebrick artist markers. After coloring the front part of the sentiment, I'm also coloring its edge, as I don't want anything white to be present. Then I'm popping the sentiment onto the card using black adhesive from squares. To finish off the card, I'm adding several white crystals. That would be it for today. I hope you like my card. I'm personally satisfied with the background and how the elements of the card blend with it. Have a wonderful day. Bye.